Good morning. Welcome to another video today. Today we're talking about 5 things that I hate about my Porsche Cayman. So number 1, the first thing that I really don't like about this Cayman is, as sporty as it is how old now? It's 2007, it's old. And for a lot of reasons, it's not very racy. It's not quite aggressive enough. At the time, things were just that way. Nowadays, at a push of a button, cars can go from really comfortable to really hardcore with all the electronic suspension and everything else. This car was a little bit different. So they had to set it up in a way that was fun and sporty, but also was livable. And because of that, me being a younger sports car enthusiast, there's a lot of things in this car that just aren't sporty enough. One of them, clutch. Clutch is way too conservative. Gearbox, another one. It's a pretty big throw, pretty uninviting, it's pretty sloppy, and for a lot of other reasons, it's just doesn't quite have the bite of some of the like really focused cars of today, or even the hyper-focused cars of this era. But I mean, a lot can be done to this car to make it so, but as a factory package, it could be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit sharper, a little bit more tight. That's what I think. That's number 1. Number 2, the second thing that I really don't like about this car is the fact that it is deliberately detuned by Porsche to fit right in between that Boxster and 911 back when this was new in 07. So this motor is a 3.4 liter, which is a slightly less bored version of the 3.6 liter motor that was in the 911. That was on purpose. They did that to restrict the power a little bit more and to keep it a little slower than the 911, even though this theoretically is a much better chassis and could handle the power with ease and would be a better car than the 911. But they didn't let that happen, and that's just a shame that they did that. All right, so number 3, the third thing I really don't like about the Cayman, and this specific Cayman, is the fact that it doesn't have a lot of key options. Now, I'm not normally an options whore, but there are certain ones that really make the car better, and I know it from being in other Caymans with those options. The main one is the Sport Package. Let's talk about that. In the Sport Package, you're gonna get a different steering wheel, one that has better thumb bolsters. It's got a round, more attractive airbag compartment, and it's a better, thicker wheel to begin with. This one's quite thin. While I enjoy this, like the overall diameter, it leaves a lot to be desired. Now these basic seats are pretty narrow, especially right here. So if you're a bigger person, it hits you kind of right in those lats. While it's not like terribly uncomfortable, you do notice it as you drive. The sport seats have little cutouts here for shoulders that are much more nice, and the bolsters are a little taller to hold you in for cornering. And just for fun, because it's cool, is that Sport Chrono package, which has the lap timer and that cool clock up in the dash. Last thing that I would miss with this car is the Bose stereo that was available at the time. This has the standard stereo, and it is dreadful. If the windows are even down a little bit, you can almost have the volume cranked, and you literally can't hear anything still. It is a terrible, terrible factory stereo, and the Bose is the one you want from this era. So that's number 3, and definitely get those options if you can. All right, so number 4 is again not necessarily a problem with this car. It couldn't help it because it was a product of its era. But the big thing that I do wish I had was the 987.2, which is the facelifted model of this Cayman. This Cayman was built in 06, 7, and 8, and then they refreshed them 9, 10, and 11. And there were no big mechanical changes, with the exception of one. But the big thing that I noticed is just the updated headlights, front bumper, tail lights, and rear bumper. Those are the things that really make it look a lot more modern, and those cars are very desirable right now, and you can't hardly find any of them on the market because people are really holding on to them. Those are the ones you want, and another big reason for that is also the fact that they got rid of the IMS in 2009 with the facelifted models. That's obviously a sticking point with the early Caymans. The IMS, the intermediate shaft bearing, can lead to an issue. Potentially, it's a very small if you maintain your car regularly, watch that oil, change it regularly, drive it often, you're gonna have better longevity on your current IMS. But the big thing is just the fact that I do kind of miss the 0.2 headlights, taillights, front bumper. They look a lot more modern and they're aging a little bit better in my opinion, and I wish I had that. But again, that's not necessarily a hit on this car because this just was what it was in 2007, but I just kind of wish I had a 0.2. All right, the fifth thing I really don't like about this car, well, here's the kicker. I don't have a fifth thing. I racked my brain for a long time before coming up with this video to try to think of a list of things I don't like about it. And I couldn't even get to 5. And a few of the things on the list don't even really have to do with this car even, like I mentioned. So the fifth thing, I don't have a fifth thing. The car is hard to nitpick. It's got a lot of great things about it, and very few things I don't like about it. It's a great driver's car, and if you're in the market, snatch one up if you can find one. You know, a well-maintained, well-driven one if you can. That's what I got. There's no fifth thing. It's a great car, and to nitpick on those first 4 things is still pretty petty. So I'm very lucky and very fortunate to have this car, having bought it over 5 years ago now at a pretty good price, and it's been appreciating in value even with the miles I put on it. It's hard to knock this car, so pretty grateful I have this car in my life, and I'm not planning on selling it for a while yet unless something changes in the market. But that's what I got today. Thank you for watching today's video. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, the bell notification if you want to be notified of any future videos, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you and your feedback. Maybe you have some things you'd like to add to the list of things you don't like about your Cayman or my Cayman or whatever. Shout it out in the comments below. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.